Wow. That's interesting, Jenny AI. Looks like we may be having microphone issues. Oh, there we go. We are live. All right. Good to see everybody.
You bet. Welcome, everybody, to the November 7th, 2024 Rotary of Lexington Club meeting here with the pledge, four-way test, and inspiration, Bill Gray.
Thank you, sir. Let's do the pledge first. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the four-way test, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? We're going to heed the words of Peggy Trafton, who said, make it quick. Make it quick this week. On September the 17th, 1787, during the Constitutional Convention, Elizabeth William Powell asked Benjamin Franklin, well, doctor, what have we got? A republic or a monarchy? Dr. Franklin replied, a republic, if you can keep it. It's a cautionary reminder that a republic is not self-sustaining and requires the active involvement of its citizens. Tuesday, we just completed another safe, fair, and free presidential election. Over 140 million Americans voted. That's a really good turnout. And the people have spoken. On January 20th, 2025, there will be a peaceful transfer of power. It is on that day, January 20th of 2025, we will begin to learn again, as we do every 4 years, that we have a republic if we can keep it.
Thank you, Bill. All right. Mary Beth Wright, you come up and introduce our guests. Mary Beth, are you here? Let me see you. I was looking for you earlier. Mary Beth. All right. While Mary Beth makes her way up, I would like to note Zandy Stewart, our district governor, is here. Zandy. There he is in the back. Thank you for coming, Zandy. And while we wait for Mary Beth, if anyone sees her to come on and tell her to come on up, we'll go ahead and do the lottery. Cheyenne. And while she comes up, celebrating birthdays today, Ken Doherty, John Darnell, and Reagan Blevins. Happy birthday. All right, I'm gonna pull out two. And the total now is $300. The last four digits, 4819. Daryl. And in the event Daryl does not pull the Jack of Hearts, we're looking for 4841. 4841. Watch the cable. Jack of Hearts. And close but no cigar. Thank you very much. 4841. All right. Yes. Oh, thank you for playing. Do we get another big? And Mary Beth, come on up to introduce our guests. Thank you.
Thank you, Brett, and good to see we have a full house today. It's good to see some familiar faces and to know that Daryl Ishmael's still a loser. He missed it. All right, I want to start with welcoming some of our guests. So Patty Breeze actually has 3 guests with her. So I'd like to introduce Dan, is it Driehaus? Dan Driehaus, if you'll stand up. Mike Chrysler and Brian Baumgartner, if you'll welcome all 3 of those with me. We have a couple others. We have Sam Overby, a guest of Joe Evans, and Ashley Lowe, a guest of Susie Basham. If y'all stand up. A shout out to Joe Evans because this is his first official meeting as a member and he brought a guest. So. We have 2 more guests, Jaron Johns and Lane Hoslock. If y'all stand up, we're so glad you're here. Welcome. And then lastly, I would like to give a warm welcome to our district governor from Maysville, Zandy Stewart. If you'll stand up. Where's he at? Thank you. All right. Thank you, Brad. Thank you all, and please come back.
Thank you, Mary Beth. We've got 4 people coming to the podium as we discuss the announcements. So if you would, Susan Adams, Laurel, and Jenny and Alicia, please get ready because we want to make sure we get the presentation started on time. But just first announcement, everybody knows Monday is Veterans Day. Will you please stand up if you're a veteran? Will you please stand up if you're a veteran? Let's give them a hand. Thank you so much for your service. Cam Nelson, National Cemetery, and the Central Kentucky Veterans Committee hosting a Veterans Day ceremony at 11 a.m. This Monday. It's a 1-hour event and it's free to the public. They recommend you get there at 10 to get settled in. There's shuttle rides from the parking lot to the ceremony space, helping us celebrate our veterans this year. Ceremony will be Private Glendale Bennett from Lexington, a 100-year-old World War II veteran who will tell what his story of what the U.S. flag means to him. Private Bennett served with the Tuskegee Airmen and the Red Ball Express in Germany and France. So please, if you're so inclined, attend the ceremony on Monday. Next announcement, Dancing with the Lexington Stars is sending out an RFP for a new primary beneficiary partner. We've been doing the event for 14 years and we've raised over $1.5 million. And we, in our fearless pursuit of making it fresh, exciting, and fun, We're looking for a new primary beneficiary. The primary beneficiary is going to be a nonprofit that it will both the funds and participation will benefit them, and then they will also contribute to the event. We're going to send out an email with the details, and if you have any questions or further inquiries, please reach out to Peggy. And here to talk about our extensive and fun social calendar, Susan Adams, please come to the podium.
Hello, thank you to everyone who came out to our events last week. And a big thank you to Susie Basham and her husband Kenny for hosting us for the tailgating for Gatton Park on the town branch. We have two fun and exciting socials coming up in November and December. So on your table are the information with the QR code so you can buy your tickets. First, we have on November 21st, which is the third Thursday of November. So it's our Doing Rotary Differently week with no Rotary meeting at lunch. We're going to be at the Singletary Center for the Lexington Philharmonic rehearsal. It's a couple of days before their big concert. The executive director of Lexville is very excited about having us there. She said it's a fun night to go. You can really see the behind the scenes interaction of their conductor Melise with the orchestra. And we'll start out with a champagne reception in the president's room, hors d'oeuvres by Dupree Catering from right here. And then we'll move at 7:25 into the auditorium to listen to Lexville. Then on December 12th, the second Thursday of December, again, we won't have a meeting that day, but we will all be meeting for our holiday party. And we've changed things up a little bit. We think we made it better and hope everybody enjoys it. We've brought it closer to your homes by bringing it into town at the Campbell House. Susie and I were there last week for a tasting, and it was excellent food. We've expanded the buffet. We now have 2 proteins for everybody, as well as all of the other sides and vegetables and 2 great desserts. And then we've changed up the music. So if you wanted to sit at your table after dinner and be able to converse, but the band's been too loud, we are now going to have a jazz band for the first 2 hours during your social and during your dinner. Then we'll have a DJ playing all of your favorites from the 50s to present. So you can make requests and dance, but you can also sit at your table and talk. The best thing, we've actually even dropped the price substantially. Tickets are only $60 a person. So should make it a great evening for everybody to come out and enjoy. And we have drawings for those that attended the 2 events last week. We want to have a drawing for those that were at Lost Palm, and you are going to get 2 tickets to the Philharmonic concert on November 23rd. If you are lucky enough to have your name or your spouse's name drawn from Lost Palm, when we draw from the tailgating, if your name was drawn again, we will spread the love around by drawing someone else. So, please. Let's see. Jim Reed. So Sharon, you have 2 tickets to the Philharmonic. And from the tailgating. Oh, sure. The winner from the tailgating is Larry Johnson.
Hey.
Okay. And the winner, Patty Breeze. So Patty and Kim, you'll just need to get with our donors, which are John and Margaret Morton. They were kind enough to donate the tickets. Okay. It's the 23rd. Oh, that's David Breeze. Alex Varhars. Alex and Christine were 2 guests that were interested in Rotary. So we have one of our guests that has won, and I will let him know.
All right. Thank you. Let's give it up for Susan. Thank you so much for all you're doing with social. It's really amazing. And now for discussing nominations for the club leadership, Laurel Martin.
Thank you so much. On each of your tables, we have a nomination form. I have printed that out so you know how easy it is to step into a nomination form and think about running for leadership in our club. This club is full of amazing community leaders, and it is really, the work we do is really driven by the folks that step into these leadership roles. If you have served on the board in the past or are currently serving in any role, will you please stand? Thank you all for your service. For those of you that are interested but want to know a bit more about what it means to serve on this board and what the commitments might be, there's lots of people that just stood up that would be happy to talk to you about that. If you have stood up and not served in the role of president, we are looking for a president-elect, so I encourage you to think about it. Nominations are due November 4th. If you have any questions, let Peggy or I know. Thank you.
December 4th. Thank you, Laurel. And now one of my favorite parts of the announcement section, may I have Jenny Schnurr come up to introduce our newest Rotarian. Come on down, Jenny Schnurr.
Waiting in the wings.
Yes.
Apologies. All right. Hello. I am very delighted to introduce Cindy Sparks, the newest member of our club, for at least a few seconds. Cindy and I first connected earlier this year when she was referred to me to become a bookkeeping client. But I was so thrilled to meet another entrepreneur with similar values to me. Cindy and her husband, Eric, have built two successful businesses. The first one, which she founded during the pandemic, but has now sold. But she is now leading her latest venture, Complete 3D, a company that sells and services 3D printers. She also recently earned her real estate license and plans to pursue commercial real estate in her free time, I said. She's originally from London, Kentucky, and she moved to Lexington to attend the University of Kentucky and has called the city home ever since. Outside of work, she also enjoys spending time with Eric and their 8-year-old son, Eli, pursuing hobbies like hiking, CrossFit, painting, and playing the piano. So can you please give a warm welcome to Cindy Sparks, the newest member of the Rotary Club of Lexington.
And Alicia Chafing come up to introduce the now newest member of Rotary.
Hi, guys. I am so excited to introduce Christy. We are so lucky to have him. I was lucky to have met him at a luncheon for Commerce of Lex. He's here. His wife is a general surgeon at UK Medical, and this guy's brilliant. He actually has been involved with Rotary most of his life. He was an Argentinian exchange student, as well as president and founder of Rotaract at California State University at Sacramento. Christy has an MS in strategic communications from Columbia University. And he is the VP of media at Threefold Communications. He leads paid media campaigns across 13 countries. So Peggy, I don't know where you are, but I think this might be our media man. So all of you out there who are trying to get your claws in him, I brought him. But in all honesty, he's a really great guy. His wife is gorgeous. We're so happy to have both of them here in Kentucky. He really is just a nature lover, burrito eater, adventure seeking, puppy friendly, success driven, simply living kind guy. And I can attest to that for sure. I just have two quick things about community outreach. We have a lot going on next Thursday. I do apologize. Trying to work with Sunrise Services and getting the right time has been a mess. But anyway, we have a full day for you the third Thursday. So we're gonna start off at Sunrise Services, cooking a meal with young children who are living in an orphanage, and there's been some dramatic things that have happened in their life. Then we're gonna move on to backpacking at God's Pantry. And then apparently we're having some social events that night too. So I really need about 12 people to help me with cooking and eating and enjoying these little kids who just don't get to have adult conversation or conversation at all. Did you see your picture? Did you see it? Was it up there? He just became a big brother. So I couldn't be prouder of him, but I think that's it. The only community outreach we do have going on in November is Sunrise Services. October, we did the buckets, the huge containers for military missions. Thank you, Susie Basham.
Thank you very much. And we are really right on time. And here to introduce our guests, we have Augusta.
Good afternoon, Rotarians. And thank you to whoever did the quick work fixing our slide up here about our speakers. Community colleges are evidence of the decades-long belief in the United States that everyone deserves an opportunity to be their best selves. At 18 years, or often later for many of the students, when they need a second chance, community colleges have always welcomed those who strive to have a good career and a good life. Our speakers today are going to highlight how vital these institutions remain to Kentuckians. There is an excellent bio of both in your wheelhorse, and I'll tell you a couple of other things. I first met Dr. Quarles when he was a young, newly elected state representative, and I could tell already of his experience and commitment in higher education. Dr. Feeney rose up the ranks of academic leadership at BCTC, and at every level made a difference for students. From different backgrounds, they each chose to work toward expanding opportunity in public education for Kentuckians. They are dedicated professionals, and they have wonderful things to tell you about the community college system and about BCTC. So please welcome Dr. Ryan Quarles and Dr. Greg Feeney.
Well, good afternoon. And Dr. Julian spent 11 years of her life leading not only at BCTC, but also Maysville Community Technical College. I think she deserves a round of applause for her dedication to higher education as well. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. You get two speakers today, so I'm going to speak for about 8 minutes, hand it over to Dr. Feeney, then we're happy to entertain some questions. But first off, did you all see the good news on Tuesday? The commercials are over. That's the good news for everybody. Get your TV back, your radio back. We look forward to working with everybody, anyone and everyone who wants to help better Kentucky. And so today I want to talk about 3 quick points, hand it over to Dr. Feeney, and then entertain a discussion at your pleasure. So first off, I was once a community and technical college student. I grew up farming just north of Kentucky Horse Park. My family continues to farm there today. Corn, wheat, soybeans, tobacco, things that motivate you to do something else in life. And so we continue to farm in Scott and Fayette counties as well. Went on to UK, took classes at then Lexington Community College, like so many other Kentuckians. But what interested me in higher education that a lot of folks may not have been aware of in my previous chapter of public service in my life is that my mom was an educator. She spent 30 years teaching nurses at Kentucky State University. And so I was so happy that when I came home from school and had to work in tobacco, we had a mom there to patch us up. And whenever Dr. Mom said, you're clear, you had no excuse to go back into the field. but she was a wonderful mom, and she went back later in life as an adult learner to get her PhD. She started that in her 40s. And shortly before she passed away, she finished her PhD, and both her and I graduated at the University of Kentucky on the same day. We got to walk across stage together. She inspired me to go on and get that terminal degree as well. So I knew that at some point I would like to continue my career in public service towards Kentucky in higher education. So that's how I ended up where I'm at. So what is KCTCS? You're going to hear about BCTC in a second, but KCTCS is the system of 16 community and technical colleges across Kentucky. Back in 1997, we had these technical colleges spread out across Kentucky. We had community colleges. And then Governor Patton, he performed the shotgun wedding and divorced the community colleges from UK and created this system. And now we have 16 colleges, 70 campuses, and we're within 30 minutes drive of 95% of all Kentuckians. And that's a great thing, because today we have over 112,000 students. We are the largest higher education entity in the state of Kentucky. And to put that in perspective, since we're in UK's shadow here, that's 3.5 times the size of the enrollment of the University of Kentucky. So you may not know this or be aware of it, but KCTCS educates 44% of all undergraduates in the state of Kentucky, period. And that includes our privates, and that includes our 8 publics as well. We're really proud of that footprint that we've built up over the years. So my vision for the system revolves around 3 principles, 3 core values that we should never stray from: access, affordability, and a workforce juggernaut for Kentucky. So let's talk about access. Who are our students? Well, 1/3 of those 100,000 plus students are in high school. These are those eager beavers that are getting college credit before they graduate high school. In fact, we had a young lady right here in Lexington just this past spring earn their associate's degree before they earned their high school diploma. That's amazing. That's amazing. We have students at MIT right now. We have students that are getting ahead in life, things that weren't there when I was going through high school. That's awesome. That's 1/3 of our student body. 1/3 of our student body are adult learners, age 25 and older. People that, for whatever reason, may have tried college before, didn't work out. Bumps in the road happened. Maybe they didn't choose to go at that time, but we welcome them back. We're open doors and open admissions. We will accept any Kentuckian who wants to better their lives. We really appreciate that. So these are students that may have career changes. Maybe they want to go for that promotion. Maybe they were laid off in transition, etc. And then the last remaining 1/3 of our student body are straight out of high school. These are students that generally have 2 pathways. Number one is to get that associate's degree completed so they can transfer on to a 4-year university and then do whatever their heart desires. Number two, we have a lot of technical programs, some of which last as little as 4 weeks. You can get a new job paying $50,000 a year, getting a CDL license, learning how to drive big trucks with us right here at BCTC. 15-week program, become a lineman, fix those telephone poles, sometimes making $70,000 a year at age 20. Some of our other technical programs are aviation mechanics, welding. Some of these are $80,000, $90,000 starting salaries at age 20. And we also have the only helicopter school in Kentucky. It's really cool that we're trying to meet our employers with the skills that they need every day. We're focusing on workforce. One last thing about access. We are proud to be the biggest GED provider in Kentucky. Over half of all GED recipients get that high school equivalency through our community technical colleges. And just last week, we announced that we have awarded GEDs to over 4,400 inmates in Kentucky over the past 5 years, helping them get a skill and hopefully a job as they exit the criminal justice system. We're also have a heavy footprint in our addiction centers across Kentucky. We know that Kentucky suffers from the scourge of opioids and other addictive issues. We're there helping them out as well. And we're in our prisons and our jails. We're proud to be there because, again, we'll serve any and all Kentuckians. Okay, that's access. Number two, affordability. We are usually half the price of a traditional four-year university in Kentucky. Sometimes we're lower than half the price. We're proud of that. We got to make sure we don't price ourselves out of the market. We got to make sure we have that commitment to affordability. And hey, guess what? Due to funding from the General Assembly, if you choose to study a degree in a high demand area of Kentucky, like healthcare, construction, transportation, IT, et cetera, we have a scholarship, Last Star Scholarship, that makes that 2-year experience at our community technical colleges free to Kentuckians. That's a good thing and a good piece of public policy. Third piece of the vision, workforce. We know we have a workforce crisis in Kentucky. We need more Kentuckians to enter the workforce. We want to make sure that we are there working at the community level. There's a reason why community college has community in its title. That we're working with employers with large and small, the Toyotas of the world, and the mom and pop stores across the rural Kentucky as well. And so we want to make sure that we are helping any employer upskill their employees so that they can have a better opportunity for Kentuckians, put more wages in their back pockets and help lift Kentucky. And in fact, 1 in every 47 jobs in our state relates back to a Kentucky Community and Technical College degree or certificate. That is awesome. So that's my vision. Some challenges ahead of us. There is an unfortunate narrative in higher education in America right now. You all have heard this story. Why should I go to college for 4 or more years to get a degree that has little, if nothing, to do with the job that I want, and then be burdened and saddled by student loan debt for the foreseeable future, soul-crushing student loan debt? That is not the narrative at our community and technical colleges. That only 1 in 10 of our students takes out a loan of any type. We will find financial aid for you. A lot of our programs, again, 2 years or less, and that we are educating Kentuckians and meeting them at the counties that they live in as well. We also have a declining college going rate in Kentucky. Less Kentuckians are choosing to go to college. We also have demographic shifts due to the 2008 financial recession where the birth rate went down. We have less people nationally entering in the higher education portal after they graduate high school as well. But we think it's a good time to be in the community technical college space right now because we're a little bit insulated. We're serving all Kentuckians as well. We also have issues with our FAFSA at the federal level. And because we do not have a mandatory FAFSA completion law in Kentucky, our state leaves $58 million on the table every single year from students that simply did not fill out the FAFSA. And so we think that's a piece of public policy that needs to be addressed. And finally, why is it worth it? Why is this worth it? Last May, I had the opportunity to speak at the Big Sandy Community Technical College graduation. That's up in Prestonsburg, Kentucky. And I got to see some of our graduates walk across stage. It was the biggest day of their lives. You're going to see this all across Kentucky. Because the students that I know, the college graduates that we help facilitate their dreams for, sometimes are Kentuckians that would have never thought or could afford to move to Lexington, Kentucky, or go to Richmond, or move to Bowling Green. Folks like my dad, who couldn't afford a dorm room, but he lived in the greenhouse in the biology building at UK and bought a cot to sleep on at night. There's an untold number of Kentuckians that, if not for our network of community and technical colleges across Kentucky, would not have attempted college at all. And that's why we do it. And over 50% of all of our students are first generation graduates. And that's why we do it. That's why we do it. So I'm going to wrap up, hand it over to Dr. Greg Feeney. He is your local president at BCTC. He's been on the job 1 month longer than I have. And as a former student there, I really appreciate everything that you do. We have 3 things in common. Number 1, we are both the 4th president of our respective institutions. We were both from Central Kentucky. And finally, we both have amazing hair. So please welcome Dr. Greg Feeney.
A hair joke? Seriously? Well, I'm so happy to be here. I love to talk about Bluegrass Community and Technical College. So I know my portion is abbreviated today, but I would love to come back and tell you more because I'm very proud of what we do. I'm in my 27th year at this institution. And candidly, when I started there, I did not think this is where I would end up in life. But probably week 2 or 3 in being in the classroom with our students, I quickly identified how vital our mission is, what a honor it is to support students on their path. And here I am 26 plus years later. I do want to say about Dr. Quarles, and I'm going to be nice, is that as a legislator, he was a big supporter of community colleges. And we need everyone so our work can be strong. The employees at the college to do their part, students, and you'll meet one in just a minute, to do their part. Our community members, we have such strong support, as well as our legislators. And he was one that always understood us and supported us. And so I'm grateful for that and grateful to have you here in leadership. I have a connection to your 2 new members, which is kind of fun. So Cindy Sparks is a wonderful example of a community partner who helps us strengthen our curriculum. And so we appreciate her involvement and support in relation to 3D printing and additive engineering and all that you've done to help us be stronger in serving our community. Secondly, and this one's pretty random, is it Chris was the other member? Christy? I also was an exchange student to Argentina, and that's very, very rare. Okay, yes. Yo fui a Argentina cuando 16 y fue a Villahermosa. Yeah. Bueno. So I came back fluent, but that was a long time ago. You look much younger and you have a full head of hair. I did when I went. That's going to be the theme today. Sochi Batista, could you please stand? She is one of our amazing BCTC students, and I wanted to introduce her for a couple reasons. One is she's a wonderful example of a student that helps us complete our mission. So she is, in addition to being a student, she is very active at the college in supporting other students, and we greatly appreciate that. She's a mentor to others in our Pathway program, which increases success. Secondly, she's a good example of a student who stepped away for a little bit and then came back into higher ed. And we were the right answer for her, and she's doing very well, and we are very proud of her, and she plans on completing her associate's, transferring to a 4-year and going on to earn her law degree. So we are very, very proud of her. So to continue with the same theme that Dr. Quarles did, access is the vital part of our mission. And when I first started years ago, I started in one of the colleges that merged to form BCTC, and that was LCC. And one of the jokes made about LCC, often in the public, was that it was last chance college, because often we were the school where students had no other option. And at the very beginning, I got a little defensive with that. But then once I understood our mission, I realized in context of everything we do, that is the vital part. So we have students that earn a 36 or 35, in the 30s on their ACT. And we are fortunate to have them there. They choose us either for social reasons, economic reasons, or because they love us and we're happy they're in our hallways. But for many of our students, a good portion of our students, they have no other option. So if it wasn't for the community college system in the state of Kentucky, the answer would be no. But because this system exists, the answer is yes. And so we have students, when they come to us, they test at the 8th grade level, that low. Through our GD program, the wraparound services that we have, they transfer, either they end up in a high wage, high demand area, or they are prepared for transfer. A really good example I have in honor of Veterans Day is that coming up is we had a veteran student that came to us 2 years ago. He's what we call an adult student, which means he's 25 plus. This particular student was in his early 40s. Once he left the military, he worked for a while and then decided and was encouraged to make more out of his life. So when he came to us, he did not test as being college ready. And so we have what we call success academies. They're free to any student who tests as not being college ready. So he did that for a month, and within that month, by the end of summer, he tested as being college ready. Not only that, through our wraparound services that we have for all students, as well as the additional services we have for our veterans students, he graduated with a 4.0, transferred to UK with a full ride. So that is the work that we do at this institution. Somebody who can come to us as not testing as college ready, they wouldn't have the opportunity anywhere else. But at a community college at BCTC, not only did they have the opportunity, but they had the opportunity then to go to school, but also to have the support and the wraparound services so they're ready for that next level with more financial support, which relates to the second thing I want to talk about, and that is success. So yes, it's vital that we are getting students in. Our enrollment is stronger than it's been in years. We are up 11.5% this fall. We were up 13.4% last year. Our unduplicated head count last year at BCTC, thank you, was 16,472. At your local community college, that is the number of students that we impacted last year. But just getting them in the door is not enough. We need to make sure they're successful, like that other student I mentioned, like Soshi. We need to do our part. And through our intensive wraparound services that are data-based, focused on students, anything from free tutoring to additional support and coursework to counseling to social support to addressing their food insecurities with our food pantry, which its usage is up over 500% this last year, to housing insecurity. Through all those wraparound services, we are increasing in our success rates. For 3 years in a row, our success rates have gone up, and we're closing the gap when we look at various demographics. That relates to that success part. So we're not just getting them in the door, we're supporting them so they are successful. The thing that I'm going to end with, and then we can get a few minutes on questions, is affordability. So you are a vital part of that. And so we have many partnerships with our community, and I greatly appreciate that. Between 17 in the last 5 years, between 17 and 24% of our budget has come from the state. That's it. Another, it ranges between 47 and 61% is tuition. If you do the quick math, you know that that leaves between 15 and 33% as far as that we have to fundraise. It's been a while since I've watched that. But so we do that through two avenues. One is fundraising, and we work hard at that. The other one is grants. And I'm very proud of, now you compare us to a Research One, this isn't going to be huge. For a community college, this is massive. In the last 5 years, we have raised over 35.5 million in grants for our community college here. New grants. That's an average of between $6 and $7 million that we are bringing in to support student success a year. And I am proud that this year we are only 4 months in, 4.5 months, and we've already raised 5.5 million in new grants. So that helps us significantly in what we do. And many of those grants are partnerships that we have with the community as well. So you heard the so what. One of the things that I used to say in classes every so often is I just stop after we've been lecturing or talking for a while and be like, so what? What does any of this matter? Why? And so my why with that is, as you've heard Dr. Quarles speak, as you see the student here, as you heard about the previous student Mark is that as hokey as it sounds, we radically change lives at this institution. We make not only opportunities for those students, but we make our community stronger by the individuals and the employees that we provide. We have doubled our nursing enrollment. We have tripled our paramedic enrollment. We have the only orthotics and prosthetics program. We're only one of 4 in the nation, the only one in the state of Kentucky. This is the great work that we are doing at this community college. If you haven't been to our campus, please see me afterwards. I'd love to come by and show it off and tell you more. Thank you so much for having me here.
I'm sure we have some questions, so if you would both come up to the podium and start with the first question.
I hear a lot about the diversity of success that we can unmanage them going college, they were achieving, they were earning more, and kind of downward spiral. That true, how do you addressing that?
Yep, so there definitely is a success gap. And we follow data closely. You heard how we were funded. So we need to make sure that we're investing our money wisely. And so we follow the success rates of all of our demographics. So there's various reasons. If I base it on an N of 3, I have triplets, 2 girls, 1 boy. The boy was 12 until he was 25, right? And the girls matured much quicker. And so, you know, what we have found is our wraparound services in relation to what that data tells us needs to be intensive. So we focus our wraparound services in pathways. We do outreach. We have groups that are just focused on men. It's called A Few Good Men. So we look at what those gaps are, and we focus on improving those success rates. So when I said earlier, our success rates, you know, fine, we're getting them in, but what's happening to them once we have them? In every category, including men, they're up. And women are also up, which means there's still a gap. So we just need to continue that work, pull in the resources for it. Often that's what we're writing grants about, when we can show these disparities between different groups, that we pull in federal funding or state funding or local funding to help us address those gaps.
Next question. One more question.
So I'm not sure I heard this right. Is this correct? Did you say that funding for a 2-year student is taken care of through the state?
For students who are studying areas of high demand growth, as defined by Kia, which all the lottery tickets I bought last night help fund. They determine which areas get a last dollar full ride scholarship. So right now that'd be like construction related jobs, business, IT, anything in healthcare. We have a shortage in healthcare. Nursing would be included, yes. That's the work ready scholarship. So if you talk to your legislators, tell them to help fund that. But I got one last question for you.
Yes.
Raise your hand if you have ever taken a class, or if you've had a child ever take a class, either at BCTC or any of our community and technical college schools, and look around the room. I worked at there. You all are alumni, which means that you need to donate to Greg Feeney today. So if you
Dr. Quarles, Dr. Feeney, on behalf of the Rotary Club of Lexington, here is a custom lithograph from our very own Bill Strauss as a thank you for coming today. Thank you so much. Let's give it up again for our featured guest. We had a great show. We'll see you next week. We are adjourned.